All right, what's up, everybody? Look, if you want to know how to take one potato and turn it into infinite free potatoes, just keep listening. On this one, it only had one eye that sprouted, and this is perfect. This is a perfect seed potato. But then you have these that have well sprouted eyes all over. Like this one's beautiful. So the first thing that comes to my mind is I'm gonna cut this and make this into more than one seed potato. Then that way I can multiply the yield. So that means basically it'll just turn into 3 starter seed potatoes that will give us more yield than if we kept it all together. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it into pieces, keep them up to a certain size. I don't want the potato portion itself to be too small, but on each part, you're gonna see that I'm gonna keep it at no more than 2 sprouts per portion. Because when that happens, sometimes they, to my knowledge, you don't get as much, you're not gonna get as much output. So you wanna get 2 really strong sprouts and just let them do their thing. And so you see these 2 are great. I'm gonna definitely wanna keep these extra ones, these tiny smaller ones. I might carve some of them out, but this one to me already can be 2 to 3 seed potatoes, which is wonderful. This one's gonna definitely be a heavy producer for us. I can feel it right now. So give me a second to cut it up. I'm gonna show you what it should look like, and we're gonna keep it moving. Okay, so as you see, I cut up the russet potato, and you see it's giving me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically 6 seed potatoes. This one was the smaller potato that I cut earlier. And these are parts that I cut off to expose the raw part of the potato. And this little dot, I carved out some of the minor ones on here. And at this point, what you do is you leave these potatoes out to kind of cure and callus over a bit here. That process is called chitting, chitting. I promise you, it's called chitting. And what it does is it just kind of like cures up the seed potato. And it really just, I don't know the full scientific explanation, but it really, really primes it for growing. And you just sit it out a couple of days, you'll see this callus over, and that's when it's ready to plant. If you also weren't happy with these sprouts, you could let it set for a little longer under some dirt and just let it grow before you really transplant it. But to me, I'm just gonna chit these and then get these planted. I'll give you updates on these, but in the next scene, I'll show you what the process looks like when they're further along, and what different phases of the plant sprouting and just growing really, really fast. And like I said, if you don't really know where to start planting some potatoes. They're low maintenance, it's easy to learn, they're full of nutrients. It's a good option. All right, now I've taken my potatoes, I've set them out. So over the next couple days, maybe a week, they're gonna callus over, and then they'll be ready to put in some dirt. All right, if you look here, these potatoes have been chitting for about a week now, and you'll see that they've got that nice, tough, callus, dry texture right here. This is exactly what we're looking for. We're gonna plant this sprout side up in our soil, in the shallow layer of soil, maybe a couple inches deep. And then we're gonna top it off with some soil. And as this green sprout grows, that's what's gonna be our the main part of our potato plant. We're just gonna keep adding more and more soil as it grows. And then when it dies off at the end of the season, voila, we have our spuds. All right, y'all, so you see, I had those chitted potatoes. They were nice and calloused up. Now it's the time to put them in some dirt. So I have them, let me zoom out, in this big old grow bag next to the other stuff I got grown in grow bags. And this is how it starts. I got the soil in here. It's about maybe 1 inch to 2 inches deep, depending on where you feel it's kind of uneven, but pretty shallow, because like I said, you're going to keep adding soil. Oh, look, what's up, Mama Cat? Anyway, I'm gonna add soil to these, give it a nice soak down, and then we're just gonna keep adding soil as we go. So that's the process. So you start like this, or no, really, you start like this. See, that's the rest of the chitted potatoes. Now they're in the dirt. Then they start sprouting, sprouting, sprouting. Then you get something like this. See the process? All right, I'll be back at y'all soon. Peace.